Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you a workflow on creating custom textures for your game engine. This workflow allows you to have complete control in the look and feel of your texture. We're going to be using Zbrush, Adobe Photoshop, and the UDK for the final render. However, you do not need Adobe Photoshop to do this. You can use GIMP, and this method should work for all game engines. I went ahead and sped up the video here. I think in total it took me around 30 minutes for this sculpt. So it wasn't extremely high quality sculpt. It was just kind of a basic sculpt to show the process of the workflow. Now I wanted this material to look like a design has been carved into the floor. So I start by masking out my design, and then I switch to the layer tool and I flatten it down, essentially, and sharpening it out and so forth. And since I have symmetry on X and Y, it's tileable, so I don't have to worry about the textures not lining up. So here you see me start doing some details to the sculpt, and this is really where this workflow is great. When you're creating textures, you want to give the appearance of depth, and in this you're actually creating that depth. So it gives you the ability to really customize on how you want it to look and feel. Now here I start painting the model. I wanted this model to look really dark, so I went ahead and chose a dark base for my painting, and then I start painting in lighter colors. This entire time I used no textures for painting. I'm just using straight up RGB. And that's really cool because it allows you to basically create everything yourself. Here I'm using the paint to add even more detail to the model. I went ahead and grabbed a dark brown, and I'm painting in the edges of these bricks to make it look like there's dirt stuck in between them. Again, I'm using a dark brown to give the appearance of dirt that's been stuck on the edges. Alright, so now let's export the textures. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to texture map and then go new from poly paint. And we should get like a texture essentially that looks really similar, but it's not exactly the same. So let's go ahead and click clone the texture, and then that way we can export it out. So I'm just going to save it to the desktop. Alright, and we also want to go into normal map. We want to click flip G and then create normal map. Oh, before we do that, we want to go to geometry and bring it all the way down. Alright, again, clone it over and then export it out. Alright, so now the final one, we want to go to displacement map. We want to go create displacement map. Make sure it looks good, clone, and then export it as well. Alright, so now we want to go to preferences, initialize ZBrush, and that way we can get it back to the basic. Go to document, turn off the proportions, and then change it to the proportions you want your texture to be. So in this case, I'm going to have it 2048. Then click resize, zoom out a bit. And then you want to grab a plane 3D, shift it up, and then click edit, make polymesh, and then you want to click frame, that way it fits the window perfectly, and then displacement map. If you haven't exited the program, your displacement map that you created earlier still should be on the quick pick, but if you have, then you can just import it. So let's just grab that. We need to go ahead and create a texture for it, so just click new texture, and then boom, there it is. So now we want to select the same matte cap that you used. In this case, I use this. And you don't need to select the right color or anything, since that's all in the poly paint. So anyways, we want to go to document, and we want to click export. So this will export the image. Again, I'm just going to use ZBrush, just the desktop. Alright, so you are done in ZBrush. So now on to Photoshop. Alright, so I went ahead and imported the three textures, the matte cap, the poly paint, and the displacement. So what you want to do is you want to put the poly paint, you want to keep the matte cap on normal and on the bottom. Then you want to click the poly paint on multiply over the matte cap, and then that will basically give you the exact same look. You also can use other options like overlay. In this case, it gives me a different style, but with the same painting. So I'm gonna actually go back to multiply, and multiply is the one that ZBrush uses. So it looks like what it looked like in ZBrush. Another thing you can do, this isn't necessary, but if you use the displacement map, you can actually use the displacement map as like a ambient occlusion map. So just select that and click multiply, and turn the opacity much way down. But that's only if you want. In this current case, the material is already really dark, so I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to delete that. And so this is the material that looks just like it does in ZBrush, and now it looks great in here as well. Another thing you can use with the displacement is a specular as well. It's just a great tool to help with your composite. Anyway, so we're gonna grab this. We're gonna export it out. Or actually, not export it, save as, and I'm just going to save it as a T-Targa. There we are. And let's just call this format. Why not? Save. And then save. Alright, so we're done with the composite. So now let's go to the UDK. We can exit that out. I'm not going to save it. Then let's open up the UDK. Alrighty, close. Alright, so now let's go ahead and import it. It's on the desktop, and it's the target right here. Alright, open up. Find my package for us, okay. Alright, so now we also want to import the normal map. Alright, so now we got both of them. So now let's go ahead and create new material. Alright. And then, like I said, there's a lot of different compositing options that you can do. In this case, I'm just going to do the basic diffuse there, and the normal here, and I'm also going to put specular there. Just kind of helps it out, I think. Save that one out. And then boom. Alright, so let's go ahead and play, see how it looks, and then there. So there's our texture. We haven't rendered lighting or anything, so this is just straight up dynamic, I think it's called. And yeah, so we have an HD material that we've created in like 30 minutes. And it's really customized. We've done the entire thing ourselves. And as you can see, it's tileable, like I said. So yeah, that's my workflow on making materials. If you want to see other materials, I'll kind of have like a slideshow playing at the end. So yeah, thanks for watching.